Archangel Michael, I now surrender every tie, connection, and energetic cord that has weighed down my spirit. I release the versions of me that stayed out of fear, the attachments I formed from wounds, and the relationships that felt like home but drained my light. With your sword of divine truth, cut the cords that bind me to confusion, heaviness, and pain. I step forward in clarity, wrapped in your strength and guided by the light of purpose. Please subscribe to my channel for daily God messages. Archangel Michael, I ask you to enter every layer of my being and gently, powerfully release what no longer belongs. Cut the cords of guilt, doubt, and shame that I've carried like armor. I am no longer who I was. I am ready to align fully with who I am becoming. Cleanse me from the residue of past choices and expired soul contracts. Let me walk forward lighter, protected, and free. Archangel Michael, I call upon your divine sword to sever the cords I've wrapped around people, memories, and past versions of myself. I release the need to control, to fix, to stay where my soul no longer thrives. I no longer carry the responsibility for anyone's healing but my own. May I rise now, untethered, whole, and fully supported by divine will. Type Amen if you believe in God. Archangel Michael, bring your blazing light into my energy field. I ask you to cut the invisible strings still tied to old traumas, unresolved conversations, and heavy karmic ties. I am no longer available for patterns that keep me small. Burn away everything that isn't mine to carry. With grace and finality, let all cords be released. I step into a new timeline of sovereignty and sacred truth. Archangel Michael, I release every energetic attachment that has clouded my vision and weighed down my joy. With your divine protection, cut away the cords of fear-based loyalty, toxic obligation, and self-sabotage. I now claim my divine right to be free, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. I stand in the light of my truth, guarded by your celestial presence. Type Amen if you believe in God. Archangel Michael, I surrender the pain that has lingered too long in my spirit. Please cut the cords that link me to old wounds, stagnant energy, and people who no longer walk in alignment with my soul. I am ready to let go, even if my heart still aches. I trust in divine wisdom. I choose to walk forward with your strength guiding me and your wings protecting me. Archangel Michael, wrap me in your brilliant blue flame and clear my field of all that is not rooted in love and divine purpose. Cut every energetic link draining my light. Sever the ties that keep me bound to emotional loops, outdated identities, and fear-based choices. Let only that which uplifts and empowers remain. I trust your sword to free me completely. Archangel Michael, I release myself from all spiritual contracts, soul ties, and karmic entanglements that are no longer aligned with my divine evolution. Cut the cords that were born from trauma, desperation, and survival. Free me from cycles I have outgrown. As your sword touches each tether, may I feel my energy return home to me, restored, reclaimed, and fully mine. Type Amen if you believe in God. Archangel Michael, I invite you to stand beside me as I release the cords that have woven themselves into my heart through pain, people-pleasing, and unspoken fear. With your truth as my shield, cut away the energetic debris of old relationships and harmful narratives. I choose liberation. I choose divine peace. I choose to walk as a clear channel for light and love. Archangel Michael, I no longer wish to carry attachments that dim my light. Cut the cords that connect me to past relationships, old habits, and thought forms rooted in scarcity. Release me from guilt I did not earn and grief I no longer need to bear. I am ready to rise in my divine essence. Let your sword of truth be the force that opens the path ahead. Archangel Michael, I ask for your divine intervention to remove every hidden cord I may not even be aware of. The subtle ties to situations, people, and patterns that subtly deplete my joy, cut them now. I release all that operates in the shadows of my subconscious. I choose wholeness. I choose clarity. I thank you for your unfailing protection. Type Amen if you believe in God. Archangel Michael, I lay down all the burdens of false loyalty and outdated love. Please release me from the energy of anyone who cannot meet me in truth. With your sacred sword, cut every tie that binds me to emotional exhaustion and inner conflict. I ask for the strength to stay untangled, to stay true, to stay light. Thank you for freeing my spirit. Archangel Michael, I release myself from all timelines and dimensions where I have given my power away. I call my energy back to this present moment, whole and sovereign. Cut the cords that connect me to fear, judgment, and illusion. I reclaim myself fully and walk forward in divine confidence and protection. Archangel Michael, I now declare, I release everything I've outgrown. Cut the cords to fear, to the past, to scarcity thinking, and to people who are not aligned with where my soul is going. I no longer need to stay where love cannot reach me. I walk boldly into my next chapter, shielded by your grace and guided by your strength. Type Amen if you believe in God. Archangel Michael, I surrender every false identity I've worn to feel safe. I release every relationship where I had to shrink to be accepted. Cut these cords with your divine precision. Let only truth remain. I am now ready to live as the most authentic, empowered version of myself, protected by your light. Archangel Michael, please dissolve all cords of energy connecting me to sadness, regret, or self-doubt. I no longer choose to carry emotions that were never mine to begin with. Remove the cords of inherited pain and ancestral weight. I am the cycle breaker. I am the light bearer. I walk forward clean and whole. Type Amen if you believe in God. Archangel Michael, I ask that you release me from all relationships that operate in codependency, fear, or manipulation. Let your sword sever the cords that no longer serve my soul's expansion. May all endings be graceful. May my heart find peace. I trust that what is meant for me will meet me in the light. Archangel Michael, I give you full permission to cut cords from every situation where I gave too much and received too little. I am no longer available for imbalance. I release the energetic contracts that kept me overextending, overthinking, and overgiving. I am ready to receive, to replenish, and to thrive. Type Amen if you believe in God. Archangel Michael, thank you for cutting the cords of spiritual distraction and emotional stagnation. Let nothing cling to me that keeps me stuck in old versions of myself. I am not here to repeat cycles. I am here to ascend. I move forward with clear energy strong. I forgive what didn't unfold the way I imagined. The missed chances, the closed doors, the people who couldn't love me in the ways I needed. I no longer need to carry the weight of what went wrong. I now understand that clinging to pain only blocks the miracles waiting to meet me. I release every energetic thread tied to past versions of myself and others. I am no longer bound by old chapters. I am choosing to step forward with a soft heart and an open spirit. Today I begin again, not from emptiness, but from wisdom. The past no longer defines me. I let go of the anger I've buried, the regrets I've replayed, and the stories I've told myself about not being enough. I offer grace to the younger versions of me, who didn't know how to cope, who acted out of fear, who made choices from pain. I now open myself to a new story, one built on compassion, presence, and truth. I release what no longer serves my peace. I invite joy, clarity, and inner freedom into my life. This is the beginning of something sacred. Type Amen if you believe in God today. I choose to release everything that has kept me tethered to the weight of yesterday. I forgive not just others, but myself, for the mistakes I made when I didn't know how to choose differently. I allow myself to soften into this moment, to accept the grace available to me now. I let go of needing all the answers. I let go of needing everything to be perfect. There is freedom in this surrender. There is beauty in this clean slate. I allow life to move through me without resistance. Type Amen if you believe in God. I am no longer interested in carrying old pain forward. I acknowledge it, I honor what it taught me, and I release it with love. I forgive the misunderstandings, the betrayals, and the moments I lost myself trying to hold on to what was never mine. I no longer define myself by wounds. I define myself by the courage it takes to rise. With every breath, I choose peace. With every heartbeat, I choose alignment. I welcome a new energy into my life, one of lightness, purpose, and expansion. Type Amen if you believe in God. I make the conscious decision to forgive the silence, the confusion, the brokenness that once left me questioning my worth. I see now that those experiences shaped me, but they do not own me. I do not need to relive the hurt to honor the healing. I step out of the emotional loops and into the stillness of possibility. I release what no longer belongs in this chapter of my journey. Today is not a continuation of yesterday. It is a beginning, and I welcome it fully. I am free from the energetic anchors that kept me stuck in old patterns. I give back what was never mine to carry, the projections, the guilt, the roles I felt obligated to fill. I allow my spirit to reset, to recalibrate. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's remembering differently. with softness, with truth. I choose to look ahead with trust in the divine timing of my life. I choose to believe that something beautiful is unfolding, even if I can't see it yet. Type Amen if you believe in God. I no longer hold resentment for those who couldn't see me clearly. I no longer punish myself for the decisions I made while in survival mode. The path wasn't perfect, but it was purposeful. Everything I've walked through has prepared me for where I am now. I release the old energy that kept me cycling through the same emotions. I allow peace to replace pain. I invite in clarity, direction, and joy. I start this day with the awareness that I am not the same person I was, and that is something to celebrate. Type Amen if you believe in God. I let go of what I thought should have been. I no longer resist the flow of life by clinging to what's already past. I trust that what left my life was making space for something greater. I hold compassion for all parts of my journey, especially the parts one once resented. With a deep breath, I release expectations, attachments, and disappointments. I step into this new chapter lighter, wiser, and more attuned to the quiet call of my soul. I release the need to be right, to be vindicated, to be understood by those who never truly saw me. I no longer carry the burden of trying to make others see my worth. I see it. That's enough. I send peace to all that has passed, and call back every piece of myself I left behind in pain. I reclaim my energy. I reclaim my joy. I welcome this moment as an invitation to be reborn into a life of greater authenticity and deeper love. No longer will I bind myself to the narrative of loss. What's behind me is complete. I now allow the future to unfold without the shadow of old pain. I honor my past by rising beyond it. The sorrow, the betrayal, the confusion, it all had its season. But today I release it. I return to stillness. I return to my power. I open my heart to divine possibilities that are drawn to me because I have made space for them. I am not the person I was in my pain. I am the person who chose to heal. I have outgrown the wounds that once defined me. Today I forgive not because others deserve it, but because I do. I deserve to feel free. I deserve to move forward. I release every energetic knot I've carried in my body, my spirit, my heart. I allow myself to feel renewed, realigned, and reconnected to what truly matters. Type Amen if you believe in God. There is nothing I need to hold on to from the past that robs me of peace today. I allow all old grief to melt into wisdom. I give myself permission to outgrow the cycles I once believed I had to stay inside. Today is not just a new day, it's a new dimension of being. I choose calm over chaos, surrender over control, and growth over stagnation. This is the threshold of change, and I walk through it with grace. I no longer seek closure where only confusion remains. I no longer ask why things happened the way they did. I release the need to understand. I accept what is and trust that what's ahead is far more aligned than what's behind. I open myself to love again, not only from others but from within. I choose softness without fear. I choose peace without guilt. I begin again, and this beginning feels like home. There is power in letting go. In loosening my grip on what no longer supports my spirit. I am no longer entangled in old memories that drain my energy. I am no longer defining myself by stories written in pain. I am writing a new story, one where joy is allowed, peace is prioritized, and freedom is felt in my bones. I walk forward now, guided not by what once was, but by what is possible. I do not need to fight with the past to find my future. I let go of the resistance. I release the narratives that made me feel small or unsafe. I trust that a greater love is holding me, guiding me, reshaping me. I welcome the unknown, not as a threat, but as a sacred invitation. I step into this day renewed, lighter, clearer, more fully myself than ever before. That I no longer carry the echoes of conversations that never brought closure, or the tension of being misunderstood. I release the tightness in my chest that once came from needing to fix things that weren't mine to fix. I allow peace to take the place of judgment, and understanding to soften the sharp edges of memory. I am not here to relive the past. I am here to live forward with clarity, intention, and grace. In this moment, I choose to live lightly, to love freely, and to honor my healing. Type Amen if you believe in God. I release the grip of perfectionism and all the shame that came with it. I forgive myself for the years I spent trying to be everything for everyone while forgetting to be gentle with myself. I let go of guilt for the ways I coped when I didn't yet know how to heal. Those parts of me were surviving. Now I choose to thrive. I allow the old survival energy to drain from my body, making space for peace. This is my new beginning, a soft return to who I really am. I no longer wish to carry the weight of unspoken apologies. I forgive those who never said the words I longed to hear. And I forgive myself for the words I didn't have the strength to say. What's unfinished no longer needs to be painful. I place it into the hands of time and trust that life has a way of completing what I no longer need to hold. In this quiet release, I find my strength. In this softness, I begin again. I no longer ask for yesterday to be different. I no longer seek to rewrite what was already written. The pain, the loss, the lessons, they are all part of the sacred tapestry of becoming. I now surrender my grip on how I thought life should be, and I open myself to what life wants to show me now. I am no longer defined by struggle. I am defined by resilience, by grace, and by the courage to begin again with a heart still open. I am no longer keeping parts of myself locked away in regret. I open the doors inside me that once felt unsafe. I give light to the shadows and breathe life into the forgotten parts of my spirit. I forgive myself for the years I stayed silent when I should have spoken, and for the times I spoke harshly when I was really hurting. Today, I make peace with all versions of me. I call myself whole. I call myself worthy of this fresh start. Type Amen if you believe in God. I no longer resist the emotions I once feared. I let them rise and pass, like waves on the shore. I no longer need to numb, suppress, or fight them. They are not here to harm me, they're here to guide me. I allow the flow of release to wash through my system, carrying away bitterness and leaving behind clarity. I trust that by forgiving the past, I unlock the door to my next chapter. I step through with tenderness and strength. I choose today to stop repeating stories of powerlessness. I reclaim the narrative of my life. I choose to remember that I am not the mistakes I made, nor the ones made against me. I am not here to live in loops. I am here to evolve, to transcend, and to experience joy again. I forgive not because it's easy, but because it is necessary for my freedom. And I am ready to live freely. My future is open, unburdened, and radiant. I no longer seek validation in places that once denied me. I release the ache of not being chosen, not being seen, not being fully received. I understand now that those rejections redirected me. I forgive the past for how it unfolded. I forgive the people who couldn't meet me where I was. And I forgive myself for staying in places I had outgrown. Today, I choose expansion. I choose love that feels safe. I choose peace that lasts. Type Amen if you believe in God. I lay down my battles. The ones I fought silently, the ones no one knew I was carrying. I release the tension that became familiar. I forgive the parts of life that didn't make sense, and trust that I don't need all the answers to move forward. What matters most is that I am here, willing to begin again. I let go of the illusion that I must have it all figured out. I am ready to live in the freedom of the unknown, with faith as my compass. I release the stories that made me small, and the fear that told me I wasn't ready. I've been ready. My spirit has simply been waiting for me to remember. I now return to myself, clear and whole. I let go of comparing my pace to others. I let go of resenting what took time. My path is unfolding in perfect rhythm. Every delay was a redirection. Every heartbreak was a teacher. I honor it all, and I step into the light of this new chapter with open arms. I forgive the days I didn't feel like enough. The moments I doubted my worth, hid my truth, or settled for less than I deserved. I was learning. I was growing. And now, I have arrived in this space of deep understanding. I no longer abandon myself. I no longer need external permission to be whole. I free myself from the weight of old decisions. I open to the beauty of this moment, where everything begins again. I no longer carry the burden of proving myself. I release the need to explain, to convince, or to seek approval. I am enough, and I always was. I forgive the systems, the stories, and the scars that told me otherwise. I allow a deep exhale to rise from my body as I lay down what I was never meant to carry. In this breath, I claim renewal. In this stillness, I return home to myself. Type Amen if you believe in God. I forgive the silence that hurt more than words. I forgive the chaos that shaped me, even when I didn't understand it. I forgive the waiting, the longing, the heartbreak. I no longer hold the past like a sword. I hold it like a scroll, full of sacred lessons. I now choose to write new words, speak new truths, and love myself in ways I never have before. This is the moment I turn the page. I let go of timelines. I let go of urgency. I let go of the pressure to be further along. I am where I am meant to be. Nothing is wasted. Every pause was preparation. Every season had its wisdom. I release the shame of not being perfect and step fully into the grace of being real. I honor my process. I honor my soul. I welcome this beginning with softness, strength, and trust. I allow the final remnants of the past to dissolve in love. What was hard, what was heavy, what was never mine, I hand it over to the divine. I make space for joy, for magic, for unexpected peace. I am not broken. I am breaking open. I am blooming into the version of me that is no longer defined by survival, but by serenity. I begin again, not as someone starting over, but as someone arriving, finally, into the life I was always meant to live. Choose someone whose depth doesn't scare you. Someone who doesn't flinch when you speak about your healing, your fears, your past. Someone who doesn't rush to fix you, but instead listens fully. Who respects the layers you've had to peel back just to be here, open and present. You deserve a partner who doesn't see your emotional world as too much, but as a map worth learning. Compatibility begins in the soul, not just in attraction. Type Amen if you believe in God. Be with someone who can sit in silence with you without filling it with noise. Who can witness your vulnerability without judgment. The right person won't shrink in the face of your depth. They'll meet you there. They won't compete with you, they'll grow with you. It's not about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone who's willing. Willing to reflect, to evolve, to meet you at the level where true connection lives. Date someone who doesn't get defensive every time accountability is required. Someone who understands that growth can be uncomfortable but necessary. Look for a partner who can look inward, not just outward. Who values honesty over ego and connection over being right. Someone who doesn't ghost emotional conversations, but steps into them with care and courage. That's where love matures, in the space between hard conversations and gentle hearts. Type Amen if you believe in God. Connection isn't built on the ability to flirt or impress. It's built on the ability to be real. Choose someone who doesn't need a perfect version of you to love you. Someone who honors the full spectrum of your emotions. Who sees your storms and stays, not out of obligation, but because they value the intimacy that only comes from true presence. That kind of love, it's not loud, but it's real. And it lasts. You deserve someone who holds your story like something sacred. Who leans in when others would lean away. Who asks how your heart is and waits for the real answer. Don't settle for someone who glosses over your emotions or tries to minimize your experience. Settle only for someone who can sit with you in both light and shadow, and never once make you feel like you're too complicated to love. The person for you won't be intimidated by your emotional insight, they'll be inspired by it. They'll appreciate that you reflect before you speak, that you pause before you act. You won't have to explain why mindfulness matters to you, or why you value emotional safety. They'll understand, because they've done the work too. When you find someone like that, the relationship becomes more than a connection. It becomes a sanctuary. Type Amen if you believe in God. Real compatibility shows itself in the quietest moments. In the way someone responds to your hurt, your honesty, your doubts. Pay attention to how they hold tension, how they manage misunderstanding. Find someone whose inner world has room for yours. Someone who doesn't flinch at the truth, but meets it with maturity. That's where relationships thrive, in the quiet courage of emotional responsibility. Be with someone who values emotional safety over winning an argument. Someone who sees conflict not as a battle, but as an opportunity to understand each other more deeply. Look for the kind of partner who says, "Let's work through this." Not, "Why are you always so sensitive?" Because being with someone who respects your inner world is more valuable than someone who simply makes your heart race. Choose love that makes your soul feel seen. Date someone who understands that communication isn't just about talking, it's about the courage to truly listen, to hold space without rushing to respond, to validate without dismissing. Find a person who sees your emotional intelligence as a gift, not a challenge. Because the right one won't ask you to shrink to fit their comfort zone. They'll expand to meet you. Type Amen if you believe in God. You are not asking for too much when you ask for emotional depth. You're asking for what's real. For what sustains love when chemistry fades and life gets real. Don't apologize for needing someone who can meet you in the spaces most avoid. If your depth is too much for someone, they're simply not your person. Wait for the one who leans in instead of stepping back. Choose a partner who doesn't shut down when things get hard. Someone who stays present, even when it's uncomfortable. Someone who doesn't run from the messiness of life, but knows that in the mess, there is meaning. Emotional resilience is a quiet superpower. When someone has it, love becomes a place of growth, not just comfort. That's the kind of relationship you're worthy of. It's easy to find someone to have fun with. What's rare is finding someone who can weather the storms with you, who knows how to stay grounded when emotions rise, who doesn't escalate, but instead de-escalates. Someone who knows that listening is a form of love, and patience is a form of strength. You deserve that kind of steadiness, not perfection, but presence. Date someone who doesn't mistake emotional distance for strength, who understands that vulnerability is brave, not weak. Someone who can talk about fear, grief, joy, and hope without shutting down, who wants to grow not just as a partner, but as a person. When you meet someone like that, you'll realize that love doesn't have to feel like a war. It can feel like a home. Type Amen if you believe in God. Don't just look for someone who understands your words. Find someone who understands your silence, who notices the shift in your tone, who pays attention to your energy, and who asks you how you really are even when you say, "I'm fine." That kind of attentiveness is rare. That kind of care is sacred. Build with someone who sees you even when you're quiet. You deserve a connection where you're not explaining your value or begging to be understood. Choose someone who already speaks the emotional language you've spent years learning, who matches your capacity for depth, who reflects, not reacts, who builds, not breaks. The right relationship won't ask you to dim your light. It will protect it, nurture it, and grow with it. Let go of relationships that feel like emotional labor. You weren't born to raise a partner. You deserve someone who has already met themselves deeply and is now ready to meet you. Someone who has done the work and continues to do it. Someone who values your emotional maturity and brings their own. That's what alignment feels like, not perfection, but partnership. Type Amen if you believe in God. Be with someone who doesn't need to be taught how to love with care, who's already learned how to regulate their emotions, take accountability, and speak with kindness, even during conflict. When someone has emotional maturity, connection becomes sustainable, safe, whole. That's when love doesn't just feel exciting, it feels sacred. Emotional depth doesn't mean endless drama. It means being honest about what hurts, what matters, and what needs healing. Choose someone who doesn't run from that honesty. Someone who can say, "I hear you," instead of "you're too much." Someone who's not afraid to look within before pointing the finger out. That's where love stops being surface and starts becoming soul. Attraction might draw two people together, but it's emotional intelligence that keeps them aligned. When you're with someone who pauses before reacting, who asks instead of assuming, who leans into conflict with curiosity instead of blame, everything changes. It becomes easier to trust, to open, to build. That's the magic of being with someone who sees love as a responsibility, not due. Esti a feeling. Type Amen if you believe in God.